Karen Read trial, day 13. I'm going to give you my daily recap. I'm very thankful that today was a half day because so much happened. If it was a full day of testimony, this would have been like 10 parts. We started off the day before the jury came in, hearing about why the harassment testimony is now coming in. Basically, the judge ruled that this could come in now because the defense opened the door. The Commonwealth is saying that they opened the door by stating, why did you not turn text messages over? And the answer to that basically is because they were receiving so much harassment. So the motion's denied by the judge and all of the testimony from yesterday is going to stand as is. And then we have the jury come back in and Colin Albert is back on the stand. We started Guns Blazing by Alan Jackson. He did an amazing job at cross-examination again today. He wanted to know who Colin Albert had prepped for regarding his testimony in advance, and he said he only talked to his lawyer, which we didn't know that he had a personal lawyer. He didn't talk to his parents, so essentially his parents that he lives with came home from testifying while he was home because they all lived together and nobody talked about the case. It's just so hard to believe. He talks about how he prepped with Mr. Lally. He doesn't remember the last time he spoke to his friend Allie McCabe, and Alan Jackson is asking, like, could it have been a month ago? Could it? And he's like, I don't know. Could it have been a year ago? I don't know. Could it have been 5 years ago? And he doesn't know. So it's just like very bizarre already out the gate. We learn Colin Albert's connection to the Proctor family. They're trying to tie as many Alberts as they can to this family. And he was in Courtney Proctor's wedding. Michael Proctor was also in the wedding. He was a ring bearer, and it was like when he was 9 or 10 years old. They get into some of the text message testimony about asking Allie to come pick him up. And he says that he provided a screenshot of the text. He never provided the original text messages when he was asked, but he still has the same phone. We're about to get into the photos of Colin Albert at Fenway Johnny's. They were taken February 26th, and there are 2 photos, and they were taken by staff or a photographer at the restaurant. So he's arguing that like these photos could not have been altered in any way because you couldn't change the timestamp or anything. They were actually just posted from the restaurant. So this is the photo that they bring up, and you can see on Colin's right hand, he has all these abrasions. So we get to hear the story, basically, how did this happen? Colin's story is magical. Like, he definitely has thought this through. He knows that they have the pictures. He knows that they're going to ask about him. He said he was at a party and it was a little slick outside. Like, this was in February. This is also, just as a reminder, less than a month from when John O'Keefe died. And he fell down in the driveway and he had something in his left hand. He can't remember if it was a beverage or if it was his phone. But he didn't put his palm down. He put his knuckles down and fell and like slid down the driveway on his knuckles. We also learned that Colin Albert says he has never been in a fight aside from fighting with his brothers. He is right-handed. He's never professionally trained as a boxer, but he does like to punch like a heavy bag for cardio. So Alan Jackson, attempting to be the little wizard he says, have you ever sent a threatening video? There's an objection right away, and the judge says that she's familiar with this and they're going to send the jury out for their morning recess. As the jury's walking out, you have a smirking/smiling Karen Read and a very smiley David Yannetti, you can see. And she's talking to Alan Jackson for a little bit about something, but she's definitely got a smirk on her face. And the judge tells Colin, okay, we're going to see the videos here with you without the jury present. I'm not going to play the videos for you guys, but there are 2 different videos, and Alan Jackson names them both. The first one is Advantage Boys, and the second one is Bang Bang. Very appropriate titles. In both videos, he's threatening these club hockey players. The team is the Advantage Boys, and we'll get into like what his story is a little bit, but they were threatening, very graphic, name calling, that kind of thing. I'm not going to put it on my TikTok, but you can go find the video if you want to see them. Colin says that both of these videos were filmed his sophomore year and potentially even the same night. He claims that he's known to change his shirt for some reason. So even though he's wearing different shirts in the 2 videos, it could have been filmed on the same night. Because the jury's gone too, Alan Jackson like kind of unleashes on Colin, and he wants to know what you really said. He gets Colin to say the F word them up instead of F them up. Was that a friendly invitation? Was it a threat? I don't know if I would call it a threat, according to Colin. You were threatening them with violence, and he said, yeah, kinda. Again, he asked, does Colin like to fight? And he says no. And then this is where it's brought up that he showed up to testify in other proceedings on July 27, 2023. He was questioned by other attorneys, and he showed up with busted knuckles, and he was asked about it, and he said he must have been hitting the heavy bag. It was only on his right hand. Do you wrap your hands when you hit bags? I'm not sure. Lally comes in to kind of give his side of the videos, and he states that Colin has no affiliation with the Advantage Boys. It's just a hockey team, and he received a text message from them. So the video was just kind of like, hey, pull up on me if you want to fight, basically. Like, I guess he was like talking about a girl or something originally, and it's just like high school drama. This is the first time that I really see Adam Lally like absolutely desperate. He really did not want these videos to get admitted. The jury comes back in, and Bev is gonna let the videos come in. It was like shock because she's been so against letting things like this in. So here we are, the jury comes back. They see everything, both videos, and the same line of questioning happens. So they learn about the bruised knuckles at the other interrogation. I thought that was an extremely important place to end the questioning with him too, to leave that in the mind of the jury. Next up on the stand is Matt McCabe. He is the husband of Jen McCabe. Honestly, I think that Adam Lally is doing this on purpose. He is asking the same boring questions to every person on the stand. What did you drink that night? What was the weather like? What did you, and it's just gotten so repetitive and boring that the jury might just be zoning out. So the house that Matt and Jen live in, they've lived in for 10 years. They have 4 daughters. The oldest daughter is Allie McCabe, who was on the stand yesterday. That night they went to a high school basketball game, and then they end up at the Waterfall Bar with that big group of friends. He was on a phone call, I guess, outside for a little bit, and then went into the waterfall, he says, around 9 p.m. Jen and Matt are friends with John O'Keefe. They are the link to the Alberts, pretty much, like, and why they keep hanging out, really, because John O'Keefe's niece that he adopted is the same age as one of the McCabe girls, and they play sports together. They're in the same grade, so they're doing a lot of carpool together and whatnot. One thing that I didn't know, that was the first time I heard this, is Karen Reed and Jen McCabe both have MS. So that was introduced on the stand today. It was kind of just like an oversight, but the 2 men wanted the 2 ladies to meet up because they both suffer from MS. So Matt McCabe says that he's one of the last to leave the Waterfall Bar. When he gets in the car, Jen is driving, she's already in the car, and he's riding passenger, and they're going to Brian and Nicole's house for a celebratory drink. It was brought up too that Karen Reed had suggested that they go across the street to D&E Pizza and cook the pizzas like they've said they do for birthday celebrations. She must have been hangry because he said she brought it up several times, but they were on like this weight loss kind of challenge thing, so they didn't want to do that. So on the car ride over, I guess John texts and says, like, where are we going? He wants the address. And they basically have like a phone call, I think, where he calls and says he needs like clarification. He doesn't know where he's going. In that time frame, Matt and Jen arrive, park their car, go inside the Albert house. They don't see Colin Albert. They don't see his daughter, Allie, who is picking up Colin. And they just go inside the house and see the whole Albert gang that is there. John O'Keefe called a few minutes later. He still didn't know where the house was, so they gave another explanation, and they see that car pull up. Matt McCabe gives very specific testimony about seeing Karen Reed's car move several times, so I have this picture here to show you. He's also the only one to mention that Brian Higgins' white Jeep with the snowplow is parked here in front of the driveway and mailbox, but he says Karen Reed's car starts like right around here and then like pulls up and stops and pulls up and stops a couple other times. So He is also the one who drives Sarah Levinson and Julie Nagel home, and they arrive home around 2:10 after that drop off. And he says that his wife stayed up because she wanted to watch a show. See you tomorrow.